It's kind of weird how the corona talk subsided with all these protests, and now all of a sudden all these people are together. And I mean, it's going to be something to look at to see how the data ends up moving in one direction or the other after all of these protests have, I mean, they've been in the streets for, I don't even know what's it been. It's been at least a week or two. It'll be interesting to see how the corona graphs that they like to show all the time on the news going way up, how they end up being affected by these massive social gatherings. Not social gatherings. I don't know how to phrase that. These massive protests. So I'm one of those people who never really knew what to expect of corona. I'm like, the media is hard to believe, and they want to blow that extreme story at you. And it's like, can I believe that these numbers are the way they are? Are you exaggerating it because mainstream media is failing and you need your clicks? I don't know what to make of it, so I kind of just have been straight on sitting on the fence, being conservative myself, trying to watch out for those in my family and my other loved ones, friends, all that good stuff. So other than that, I mean, we have seen steps to get back to racing. NASCAR is obviously back. No spectators. For some reason, though, I have a weird attraction to now being into NASCAR. Maybe it's because it's like the only sport on TV these days. I've gotten into NASCAR. Go Jimmy Johnson. Hope you put Kyle Busch into a wall. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Just beat him. Don't put him into a wall. I don't need that spinning out of control. And drag racing is happening without spectators. I'm not sure how that's profitable, but hopefully these promoters can make ends meet. Hopefully the track owners can make ends meet. It's just kind of tough economically because, you know, you really have to do something to stay in business. I think that people are under the impression that these, you know, businesses have years of payroll and of mortgage payments or rent or whatever just sitting in the bank account, which isn't the case. So this is where we get to the meat of the story here, is that Coles County Dragway ended up suing the government. I don't know if it was local government in some capacity. They ended up suing and winning. The story I originally found over on Competition Plus pulled a quote that they were, quote, told by local health officials and government officials that they could not reopen the drag strip located in the southern part of Illinois, to which the drag strip owner basically said that they were being lumped in with Chicago, which obviously has a very high concentration of people and a lot of corona cases, but they're several hours south of Chicago and have nothing to do with Chicago. They're probably more rural, more spread out, fewer people. And basically what happened was these guys were told that, not they were told, but they were about to shut down. What the story says is that, maybe they could last another month, but beyond that, they would be forced to shut down the drag strip. So basically they had racers chipping in, they were doing fundraisers, they were doing raffles, they were doing all kinds of stuff to try and keep the payments going on the piece of land. But obviously that's only sustainable for so long, right? You're not going to be able to have people being generous and keeping the track open forever. So they were like, look, we need to open. They decided to sue. They talked to a lawyer, and the lawyer basically said to deliver a statement to the government, and basically the government failed to respond. So they could open again. They basically won the lawsuit by default by the government officials not answering their requests. So they opened up once again. They were trying to be safe with the initial opening. They only allowed crews and racers in, and they were taking temperatures at the gate. And I don't know why. Like, Coles County Drag Strip, probably a nice place. But I kind of picture like one of those little backwoods drag strips and like taking everybody's temperature. It just creates a funny image in my head. I had a joke written down here. I'm not even going to say it. We'll just let that one go. But Coles County Drag Strip, they won. They opened back up. And it's different everywhere in the country what's happening. But, as far as this whole coronavirus thing goes, am I wrong in thinking that it's kind of silly that we're doing these cavemanish things to kind of get through it? It's like, they need to come out with a vaccine or it's going to run its course, right? There's no other option. Like, staying inside, if they don't come up with a vaccine soon, which I'm sure these vaccines take forever. They have to go through the FDA and be approved and all this stuff. But in the meantime, what are we just going to never go back outside again? So there's kind of this weird middle ground where we're doing these cavemanish, very like basic, like, think about this. We could talk to our phone. I can order anything to my doorstep. I can access any piece of information in the world, but the most complicated thing that we have to combat a deadly virus is a piece of cloth over our face and not standing within 6 feet of anybody else. You know, it's it's kind of crazy. And one of the other things that I saw the other day was actually a radio host that I like, shout out Josh Innes, was talking about this on his radio show about the new regulations that some concert companies, I guess, are trying to come up with in order to get concerts happening. And if you want to talk about cavemanish measures to get people back in place, the first part's kind of cool. They're thinking about getting these apps where you can text in or use this app to get yourself in line to buy a beer, which I actually think is kind of neat, because if you've ever been to like a concert or a sporting event, there's always these natural breaks in the action where everybody wants to go and get their beer or go to the bathroom. But with these apps, you can go get your food or beer or whatever and get in line, and then when it's ready, you just go up there, which is a very cool idea, actually. I like that one. Or go to the bathroom, which probably wouldn't work naturally. I'm just imagining. The other part is they're proposing that they make these 6-foot squares on the ground so that you stand in the middle of your square during a concert, right? During a concert. And then you're just supposed to stand in the middle of your square and not go out of your square. And just, it's weird to me. It's so archaic. And it's like, do you really think that at these concerts where people are drunk out of their minds, probably half of them are high, that there's not going to be a fight or an issue with asking people who are not in their right state of mind to stay inside these 6-foot squares? To me, it's just like, we want to do these half measures, and it's weird, man. It's just super weird. I just picture somebody that's whacked out of their mind coming into another person's square, punching them and getting punched in the face. And then like fights are going to break out, and we're going to have all these issues with this kind of thing. And it's I think we're desperate to get back to some sort of normal, but a lot of these ideas are just crazy. And then, you know, the thing is, by saying that we're going to do these measures is basically saying, okay, coronavirus is real and it'll probably spread. But then you have all these squares that are spread out 6 feet from each other. And then you expect people to not, like the people in the middle, they can basically just go fuck themselves, right? Like, there's going to be somebody with corona, carrying corona in, even at a limited capacity concert. It's still going to be thousands of people. And if you're in the middle, you're basically breathing everybody else's air, which is kind of gross to think about because, you know, in a concert, you're doing that anyway. But I don't know. It's just so strange to me. And on that note, I think we should actually move into the next topic of discussion.
Are you listening? Damn.